The Union 0430 is brought to you by Real Geese, the most technologically advanced silhouettes ever produced.
Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 54. Hey, how'd you like that introduction? It is so good that we even got the man himself joining us tonight. So as you know, the Union 0430 is brought to you by Real Geese Silhouette Decoys, the most technologically advanced silhouette decoys on the market. And we're going to get into a lot of news with Mr. Craig Mintz from Real Geese Decoys in a little bit, but we'll do our regular introduction right now. We've got Dave up in Concord in Ontario, Mark outside Ottawa, Ontario, Philly in Oshawa, Ontario, Ryan in Nova Scotia, Perts unknown, and Mr. Craig Mintz coming to us all the way from the great state of Ohio. How are you, buddy?
Doing well. How about you guys?
We're just rocking it, man. We're doing good. I'm speaking on behalf of everybody. I think we're all doing good anyways. Everybody looks good.
I woke up this morning. I'm happy.
Well, and we got Dave back this week too, so you know.
Is finally isn't on fire anymore.
Yeah.
Is Ohio backwards? Ohio?
No, because it's OHIO, so it would be OIHO. It wouldn't work.
Ohio.
Yeah, it'd be Ohio or something really weird. After you have a few adult beverages that work.
There you go. I want you, for everybody that's watching on YouTube, I want you to show the name of what you're drinking there, Craig. Do you still have that?
So I have it's a Brewdog Elvis juice. It's an IPA, but it's infused with grapefruit. It's brewed at our capital in Columbus, Ohio. It's one of my favorite beers. They should probably be paying me for this.
I agree.
But they do their amazing job. They actually have a brewery down in Columbus, and they have a hooked up like a hotel you can stay at. You can go down and eat, drink all the beers, and stay right there. So, but yeah, it's one of my favorite beers. Been drinking it quite a bit. One of my buddies bought it for me going camping. This is my first full-on camping trip with my family, so I figured I would need a few adult beverages to get through the weekend.
Awesome. I really just like the name Elvis Juice. I dig it. So I wanted to get that plug in.
It works out for me.
I'll be sure to plug Bird Dog Brewery, or not Brew Dog Brewery.
Bird Dog Whiskey.
Bird Dog Whiskey will get a plug too. They normally do, but we'll get that.
See how I get a bottle of this,
buddy. You got to try this stuff, and there's so many different flavors that it's just ridiculous. Like, just think of watching Saturday morning cartoons as an adult and say, I think I want peanut butter whiskey. And you're like, dude.
And I love peanut butter whiskey.
Yeah.
Where does one get this stuff?
Well, yeah, it's
American.
Yeah, it's only in the States, right? We can't get it in Canada.
Oh, yes, I can.
In Canada?
I can get it in Ottawa, apparently.
Pardon?
I said pardon?
I just found out at work the other day. I mentioned it to the guys, and guys like, yeah, you can go into the certain one in Ottawa, and you can order that in. They'll get it right in for you.
Oh, I'll look into that then. Good to know.
Actually, I'll look into it, seeing I live in Ottawa.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Mark.
I'll have to look at it since I live in the States, and it's some isn't around my area. Sounds like I need to be ordering this stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you know what? There's a small community of us up here in Canada. So I'm pretty sure you can barter anything with a bottle of Bird Dog whiskey. You could probably do some pretty good trades with some Bird Dog up here.
So. I like how we sent the one guy who doesn't drink alcohol on a total liquor wreck.
Hey, Mark, go to the liquor store and figured it. Yeah, that's the good thing. We know Mark's not going to drink it. So
yeah, we got a built-in DD here in Punisher Waterfall.
Yeah.
You know what else is coming out is Pupper's beer from Letterkenny.
Yeah.
That's coming
soon. That was out.
They just
But it's coming back.
they just started. Did they just start recording like the 5th or 6th season or something? Soon?
The
10 and 11.
10 and 11.
Yeah, 10 and 11.
And Shorzy's getting a spinoff.
Shorzy, yeah.
Yep.
So I seen Shorzy's getting a spin-off, but how, like, is it just going to be Shorzy's voice and you're never ever going to see the dude or what?
I
They'll
hope
probably do something to have his face covered the whole time.
The Ovechkin hockey helmet where you can't see him.
Yeah.
Ah,
And
Shorzy.
what's really weird is because, you guys had, that was a huge thing, obviously, where you guys are. And it took a long time for Letterkenny to hit our area. Like, we had caught on to it early. And for our area, it took forever. I don't know how many seasons you guys were into it, and we were just getting to season 1 here. And it hit this place, like my area, my buddies and stuff, they were sending, I get links from a bunch of my buddies from, up north. And they'd be, dude, you got to watch this because it's really funny. And 6 months later, I get another text from my buddy. Hey, man, you got to check this. Well, he's stateside. I'm like, dude, I watched that 6 months ago. And it was just crazy to see how long it took to get here. And now it's something we quote it all the time. And it's an absolutely, because we always make fun of, how the Canadians talk and about those things. And then that is a perfect example of how a stateside, we look at, the Canadians, we're like, what are you guys talking about? And then it's a really good show. And we, me and my wife, we actually sit down and watch it every now and then and have a good laugh.
We were in the States for NWTF.
Yeah.
2 years ago, in 2019, we're sitting at the bar drinking and we're just shooting the shit. And the one bartender, he wasn't the one serving us. He walks all the way across, came over to us. He goes, "Hey, are you guys from Letterkenny?" We're like, "Fuck, get out of here!" Like, there is no real Letterkenny, you dick. So,
And Canada is massive, dude.
yeah,
The best insult on Letterkenny? Philly says it all the time. And I absolutely love it. And that's your spare parts, buds. That is the best insult I think you could give anybody.
It's funny. I actually tried going through that episode where I said it there a few weeks back, and I couldn't find it. I wanted to relive the moment.
Did you ever? Hey, Mark, did you ever see the episode when Terry Ryan Jr. was on?
On Letterkenny?
Yeah.
Played for the other hockey team. I saw that.
Oh, yes, I did see that one.
They
I
had
did see
two
that
of the
one.
boys on from Newfoundland.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah, that was
God.
awesome.
I died just watching it. It was the best. Nose.
It was crazy. 'cause
like you guys
You
know
guys
that
talk about
that's
how big
based on our
Canada is.
area up here, eh?
Mhm.
really?
Some
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Dave-
where I
Dave,
live,
that's-
he played junior C hockey for the local hockey team here. And when he's talking about like, oh, he's doing that farm talk show, and he's like, oh yeah, well my kid's going to Ripley or whatever. Like those
Cracking
are all
egg.
the local towns around here. But it's actually filmed up in Sudbury, I believe.
Yeah.
So
I just like the cast, the group. We're really going down a rabbit hole here, but
Whatever.
anyways, we got to give it some justice because it is a brilliant show. But the cast, the crew, that the characters that are on that show, like the tall auctioneer dude kills me. I forget his name now, but he just and the dude with the white t-shirt that always got his sleeves rolled up.
McMurray.
McMurray, but he calls
Fucking
him.
McMurray.
Oh, so the tall guy's name is Dixon? Dickens.
Yeah.
And McMurray calls him Dick Skin.
Yeah.
Fucking dies. It's awesome.
Don't
Anyways,
forget about the dicks.
Well, you guys talk about how big Canada is, and I can tell you, we do a lot of the prototyping on all of our Real Geese stuff. So we fly into Alberta, and then we drive about 4 or 5 hours north. That's where, sort of Real Geese kind of got it, legs underneath them. Daryl Wise had a huge plantation up there that we would, not place that we could go hang out and go shoot birds, and we'll take all of it. We haven't done it in quite a while, obviously, one, because of COVID, and two, we haven't really needed a huge spot like that, so that's birds. But we fly into Alberta, and I remember the first time I got out and was with those guys, and we're buying liters of gasoline, and I'm like, what the hell is a liter? Like, why do we have that? Like, just make it a gallon. And then I start realizing that we do everything backwards, and that's where I had my first kokanee beer. And we get up there, and I had an absolute blast. But yeah, we get in there about one every 4 or 5 years. So it's kind of cool to be able to and then that was one thing he said is it's huge. Is I flew in Alberta, and I'm planning liking around, and I'm like, this place is huge, and not only huge, it's remote. We like I said, we drove a couple 4 or 5 hours north of Alberta, and it's remote when you go to the general store and you can buy your hunting license, you can buy a thank you card, and you can buy pretty much shotgun shells all in one store. and you can mail everything out from there.
And then when you're talking about it like that, people are like, well, yeah, you can do that at a Walmart. No, this is like a little corner store the size of like a small house.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
It's not even a small house. They got one aisle, and on one aisle you got half the stuff, one aisle you got on the other stuff, and you got this plus 80-year-old woman working behind the counter signing your goose tags and stuff. And it was, for me, my first experience. It was such an eye opener. Because I woke up in the morning at 4 or 5 in the morning before we went out, set up all up. I'm standing on the second story balcony, drink my coffee, and I look out and I see something rustling through the woods, and I'm standing next to Darryl Wise, and I'm like, hey, Darryl, what's that? I hear it was a moose. I'm from Ohio. We have deer. That's it. We don't have much anything but that. And that was just, it was such a different atmosphere for me that it took me 2 or 3 trips to kind of get my feet wet.
Well, you look on like the grand picture of things, Craig. Like, give or take, a couple square yards. Canada and the U.S. are more or less the same size, right? But like, our provinces literally go from the very bottom of the country to the top. But like, you look at some of these areas in the States, and it's like we're unbelievably jealous. Like, these guys are really into the big game and the turkeys and stuff. These guys can drive, they can hunt their home state, drive 2 or 3 hours in any direction, and go punch 3 or 4 more tags. Like, it's the big benefit of the state being so small, right? Like, so you can go anywhere and punch half a dozen more turkey tags, or get 2, 3, 4 more deer. Like, it's
if you were to think about it, and without having a map and my computer skills to superimpose, but if you took the size of, say, Quebec or Ontario, how many states do you think you could fit in Ontario alone? So a normal size, not California, which is a huge state.
I was going to say 2 Texases.
Yeah.
Think about the land mass to populate. Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, no, you're right. It depends on what side of the the states you get to. You get to California, you get to the Arizona, you get to the New Mexico, where the land mass is very, very huge.
Yeah.
But then you get to the opposite side, the East Coast, where you get New Jersey, New York, New Hampshire, where the landmass is so small.
Mm-hmm.
The best part, like where we live in Ohio, which is really weird because they call us the Midwest, because we're really not the mid, but we're not really the West, but we're not really the East. You got Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, Kentucky, and Wisconsin. We have a really diverse, not only bird count, but deer, and just turkey. It's a really cool area to be a part of. You drive into UP, and you see some really cool things in Michigan. There's a lot of times that the state get this bad rap of they're the states, and you don't have that beautiful country area, and it's not true, because most of those people never really travel.
Yeah, what I find, and growing up in, and Mark can attest to it as well. Growing up in Newfoundland, we get a ton of tourists that come through Newfoundland, right? And a ton of American tourists that come through, and we would hear them, and I would hear them say things like, "Well, this is beautiful. I've never seen nothing like this before." But when you ask them, well, where they're from, but they're from Metropolis. They're not from, like, there's plenty. I've been in Missouri and traveled the state. There's some pretty awesome places in Missouri. I haven't traveled many other places in the States, but Missouri, I traveled all over that state, and it's a beautiful state. So I think when you hear people say, well, we don't have that, I think you got to look at where they're living, because that's the same for us. If someone from Toronto was to come to rural and go, oh, this is crazy, no different.
You got to look at like the land mass, the population too. Like, you know, like our Canada as a country, we have like 35, 37 million as a country. You know, state of Texas has 29 million. As a
California
state.
has 35 million.
There you go. Right. So
And every one of those people from Texas was at the first pitch of the Rangers game at the beginning of the season too, and it was fucking beautiful to see that ballpark absolutely full for the first pitch. It was amazing. Meanwhile, in Canada, we only allow 500 people in at a sporting event. That's it, and they need to be fully vaccinated.
3,500 tomorrow night.
Is that 35 in Montreal?
3,500.
Finally, are like, you guys are finally starting to loosen the reins, huh?
Yeah. Well, and they're giving away hot dogs too, so that's a good thing.
Still can't get a fucking haircut.
Mind you, I'll show you how screwed up, you know, the states are, because, you know, the Canada, you guys think they're screwed up, but in Ohio, they were giving away $1 million a week if you were vaccinated. So you got to be in this pool of people of all Ohio, which I don't remember what Ohio is. It's some millions of people. But if you were vaccinated, you got to sign up, and you had to put in this little code, and you got in this little drawing for $1 million. And they gave away $5 million if you were vaccinated. Now, Ohio was one of the last states to open up, you know, with, you know, no mask, none of that other, you know, stuff. But Texas has got a governor and got some representatives that are very anti everything. And they are, and it's one of those states that I really love. You know, and Ohio is pushing that direction. It's just our governor, who eventually will be out in a year and a half. Well, hopefully we'll have somebody new.
When you talk about the Texas governor,
go ahead.
What's that?
When you talk about the Texas governor, did you see that he signed a bill allowing unlicensed carrying of handguns?
Yeah.
Correct.
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Yes, one of the first states to do that. You know, Ohio actually has it in front of the committee already. That would be one. Now, I already have my conceal and carry. So we already have a deal to where you got to take about a 9-hour course, and you can conceal and carry. You can open carry in Ohio all you want, you know, but sort of frowned upon if you're walking down the street with a shotgun. You know, they kind of would draw a big, hey, don't do that no more. But Ohio actually, it was brought in front of the House, I think, a week ago to go to the Senate to be one of the other second or third states to have that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there is your politics, Letterkenny, and geography lesson for the night. So here, check, done. Craig,
podcast starts now.
Yeah, the podcast. Listen, you know what? I haven't had, and even though I consider this face to face, because I can look at you and I'll speak on behalf. I'll say my turn, and then Dave and the rest of the boys can if they see fit. But buddy, I cannot thank you enough for, you know, approaching us about wanting to sponsor the show. And it really, when me and the boys talked about it, the fact that you reached out to us and asked us, like I had sent you an email and I had said, listen, we're doing our 50th episode. I'm wondering if you could give us something as a prize that we could give out during our 50th episode. And you were like, yeah, absolutely, I'm in. but I'd really like to get behind the show and sponsor the show, which totally took Dave and I by surprise, something that we weren't expecting ever. And when I brought it up to the boys and said it to the boys, and this is what's going to happen and stuff, it really says a lot to us and let us know that what we're doing actually is somebody likes it. So thank you very much for sponsoring the show and believing in us and wanting to have your name attached to the show. So I can't thank you enough, buddy.
I think we need to stop and acknowledge Craig with a golf clap.
Golf clap.
Yes.
Shallow and pedantic.
Well,
Shallow and pedantic.
Thank you.
I mean, I can tell you guys that, when even before, we became a deal and before I was even on, it's always something that I am not PC. I've grown up that way, and I don't like that. There's way too many shows that are that way, and it drives me nuts. And you guys aren't, and we all know that. And that's what, like, when I approached you guys to begin with, is I don't want it to change. I just wanted to be able to have that pairing because, if you walked into Real Geese right now, you would see, 15, 20 employees that are blue collar, non-edited, non-scripted workers. You might walk in and hear, some cuss words. You might walk in and hear some things that, you wouldn't walk into any of the other decoy manufacturers or anybody else in the waterfowl industry. That's just us. We're 15, 20 people that work in a small town of 1,500. And, we give each other crap all day. We enjoy it. And we're one big family. And I love it. And it was just a great fit that when I got on and I was able to watch you guys, most of the time I listened on a podcast, do it on my phone, walk around my earbuds, walk through work, and I'd listen. And many times I'd be laughing. And it was more just because either, somebody had an audio problem or somebody was outside with a dog or somebody had this. And it was just that raw fun, but you got down to the point to gun safety. You got down to the point to where, it was something, it wasn't all fun and games. It all got down to some kind of real core that the show worked. I know not too long ago we had a show on, just nothing but gun safety, and proper fitting of guns. There's not another show that does that. And I think that's what drew me to want to really help. And I can already tell you that once I can box these new Eclipse up, they're coming your guys' way. And we'll make sure that they're into the pool of giveaways for each week.
That's awesome, buddy. Again, I can't stress enough how much I appreciate it.
No, and I fully agree. And I think the best part is that you wanted to keep it unscripted and you didn't want, it wasn't like, okay, at the 2-minute mark, I want you to put, no, you're just like, no, I want you guys to do what you do. I just want to help it and support it. And that's, I don't know.
Yeah. One of the best conversations we had, Dave, was when another company had reached out to us about coming on as sponsor, right? So I wrote Craig and I was like, hey man, I just want to let you know, this person has reached out to us. They want to be part of the show as well. I just want to make sure that you're cool with it, that you don't have any issues. And your response, Craig, was like, this is exactly the reason why I got behind it, because I want more people to get behind the show. So yes, whoever you can get into the show and promote it, do it.
If we have a 15-minute segment at the beginning of it to talk about sponsors, that's what we want. I mean, that's the whole reason we did it. And sometimes it takes, we are not, everybody sometimes looks at Real Geese Decoys and thinks we're this multi-billion-dollar company because we are, we look at that sometimes. And we're not. Honestly, if you guys walked into our building, you'd be like, this is where Real Geese comes from. And we just like to help the little guy. We like to help the guys that we were once. And to be able to, we have the following in certain cases. We don't have some of our competitors' followings, but we have that following of core guys that I love our customers. I mean, our customers will call me and sometimes it's, lack of a better term, it's not a waste of time, but I'll have a 45 minutes to an hour conversation with some hunter in the middle of Idaho about how he got our shadow series and they were amazing. And I love having those conversations, and I love having that core, that core one-on-one contact with our customers, and it's that raw, unedited, because we'll get customers that call and say, yeah, these suck, or we don't like these. And my main thing is here, let me send you another set of decoys that we think that you like. And if you like them, let me know. You don't like them, it is what it is. I'm not against anything, and I'm not against full bodies. I'm not against any of our competitors. I just want our product in the people's hands, because I think with the fully, the way we put all of the education, all the hard work, all the technology that we have on our end into our decoys, it is what creates the product that I think matches what we have as a group. And I think that if you would, one of these days I'm going to get all of you guys down to 2 Real Geese, and we'll walk in, and you walk in and go, this is it. I mean, it isn't much. And we'll go have lunch at our local pub or our local bar that is literally a couple blocks away, and we'll enjoy it. And that's us. We're that low down to earth company that, loves to help out the similar company in similar things like you guys are.
And I think today, so I was talking to Craig today. There was someone asking a question on Facebook on one of the groups, and normally I'll answer and I'll just give my personal opinions. But this youth hunter, he's 16 years old, started saying oh yeah, well here I don't like this, and well, did you know? And did you know he didn't like the wooden stakes? And I said, well, did you know about the metal stakes? And well, and it came into what ones had metal and which ones didn't. I was like, I'm pretty sure they all all the higher end models had the 2 different types, but the shadow series had just the whatever, but I wasn't sure. So I messaged Craig. I'm like, listen, I don't like to bug you because, you're probably a super busy guy. He's like, no, 100% tag me in this stuff. I'll answer. I'll talk to everybody. And it's that the fact that you take the time out of your day to answer those questions and go through it with as busy as you are with Real Geese and with your car and your family, it's pretty good.
But that's what I want. I mean, I want that one-on-one contact. When I took over probably 4 or 5 years ago, that was one of the things I felt like we were missing. We sold to distributors. We sold to, Bass Pro and Bella. When you walk in and bought a dozen Real Geese off the shelf at Bass Pro, who do you go to? You could call us, but who do you really contact? And I want that name out there that, you can call our 1-800 number. You can call our, our other number and literally talk to me on the phone. There's some days I answer the phone. I want to talk to these people because honestly, I'll be honest with you, these clips kind of came from the general public. That idea came from a guy that I talked to, said, hey, you make this, you make that, put them together. And I sat there and I'm like, well, that might work, and let's see if it works. And there's a lot of moving parts. A lot of people don't understand in which I'm working on our fan page at Real Geese Decoys. You can find that and be a part of it on Facebook. We do a little bit of inside information and a little kind of inside behind the scenes look of it. But like our cloth, doing the cloth is not easy. My employees hate doing it because it's hot, because you're melting glue and adhering it to, some plastic. But, like that kind of thing, I didn't think we could do to corrugated plastic. There's a lot of challenges that I took, but me listening to some random guy about, man, it'd be really cool if you could make this, turned into our 51st product line. And I want to know what doesn't work. I want to know what, does work. We came out with our shadows, and our first mistake was the wire. Everybody knows that. There was no question about it that we misguided or misjudged the gauge that you needed. We since then have fixed it. We have since then dulled the powder coat, and that's what I want. And I want that feedback, and I want this to be, for lack of a better term, a hunter's own company where they have say in the product. I don't want this cookie cutter thing that everybody can do. I don't want something that's easy to do. If you give me something that's difficult to do, that's what I want. Don't give me something that's easy. Everybody can do that. And that's what I want. And I think we're getting there. It's taken me a little while to do it. Now that I'm getting closer to being majority owner of Real Geese decoys, I'm purchasing, percentages from my father every year. And my father's on his way out. And it's not his fault at any point, but there's competitors out there that have a budget. I would say what they spend in a yearly advertising budget is what I spend on a yearly salary for multiple people. So it's I got to adjust how things work, and we're getting there.
Hi, sweetie.
I think that's one of the things I kind of respect most about your guys' brand, Craig, is the fact that you guys listen to the users, like the waterfowlers. You listen to your pro staff guys a lot. You take that input and you reflect it into your product, which I respect a lot. I kind of think of like the same kind of principle with the duck call. You hear the guys. You'll see like guys, they'll physically see a duck call. They'll think, man, that's a sweet looking call. Like I want it. I want to buy that call. It looks awesome. Well, you haven't heard anybody put air through that yet. Like, and that's the most important factor. Like, that how's the result? Like, how does it actually react? And that's how you guys base your platform on. I think that's kind of I think that appeals to a lot of the real blue collar waterfowlers is the fact that like, hey, like guys have put these through their paces, these decoys through the paces. They stand the test of time. They're not just a flash in the pan. So,
is it true that
we appreciate it?
Is it true there's V boards coming out?
I'm working on it. I can tell you that's another 9-month project. Because the cost of the molds is the biggest cost. I'll be honest with you and upfront with you guys. The cost of the molds is outrageous. And to get it done stateside is even worse. So I have put my foot down and have kind of contacted the people of what we used to have. And I have one in my hand. I know where the molds are. We are in kind of talks now of being able to have our own Real Geese keyboard. So it's coming. I don't know when. I can't tell you. It is a process of being able to, kind of negotiate back and forth. Some of those, in certain cases, think they have this and it's worth gold. In certain cases, it's not. But so it's a kind of a catch-22. So we are going that way, and I can let you guys know it is in process, and I do think we will have them available. I can't tell you when, but when we do come out with it, I think it's going to be pretty sweet. We have in cases that those D boards will be retrofit to where they can fit any decoy on the market.
And that was Jeff Coates brought that up during episode 50.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I've spoke to Jeff Coates a few times about it. Miscellaneous under the radar. He has no idea who I am. But there's times that I value, again, the people that do this every day. They live this. I value their opinion. I don't want some engineer in the middle of New York designing this thing because they've never used it. I want a guy that's used it, tells me what's wrong with it, tells me what's great about it, and then I fix it. And that's what we've done with it.
I think one of the things that I think all the guys can attest to this, like one of the things that led you guys apart from competitors is like, if you call the company with like an issue, you're not talking to someone like, a customer service representative where, okay, here's my question. And they're like, hold on, as they flip through a binder to get the answer. Like you can call and speak to the VP directly. You're not sitting in some 1,000 square foot corner office with leather couches and whatnot, and like just walls of scotch and stuff. Like you're a genuine person and will listen to the consumer, because at the end of the day,
leather bound books.
Yes.
Also mahogany.
Yes. But like you will listen to the consumer and actually like make notes and take take their words and put it like into plan, into action, and correct things, as opposed to just listen to one guy. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever you got to say, pal. You will actually be genuine with what they have to say and work it in towards like your product. And I think that's one of the things we can definitely attribute to your guys' success.
Greg, I wanted to, and Phil just sort of nice segue into this, and not taking anything away from you, Craig, and your conversations that you have with the customers, but I have a ton of friends that say, well, I speak to Brandy. Like there's a ton of people that do their dealings with Brandy, and this is, same deal, right? Just a friendly voice on the other end of the line, that customer service is what she cares about, and she gets things done, and people end up hanging up the phone very, very happy. But even after talking to Brandy,
Yeah, and Brandy is an amazing girl. We brought her on. Honestly, she was a part of making the decoys. She was working the floor 4 years ago. So she was a part of, knows how they're made, knows what it takes to make them. And, she graduated to more of the customer service role. So when you call, the first person you talk to is her, most likely. And if it escalates to a problem such as, maybe your wires broke, or your wires, something you didn't get in your, and then it goes to me. And then I escalate it and make sure it's done right. But Brandy, I've given pretty much a wide open book that, she's in charge of making sure things get done right. And if she has to make an executive decision, she does it. Yeah. And I love that about Brandy. She's very knowledgeable of all of our products. She's very, very approachable. You can talk to her on a phone, and you're talking to a real person. You're not talking to, a computer. You're talking to somebody that really cares about our product. They really care about getting the product in your hands, and they want it right. It's not a secret that every now and then we might ship out a set of decoys without, without a set of stakes. And it's nothing for us to throw them into UPS and ship it to you. And that's what we want everybody to understand is you call us as, we're making sure personally that it's done. It's not this, we're going to hand it off to somebody else. It's, there's many times that I'm packing out geese, and for those that, excuse me, if you get a decoy, like a shadow box or whatever, there's always a stamp on it. Those stamps have initials. Those stamps with the initials, if they have a CM on them, I can tell you I personally packed them out. It's kind of a little cool thing we do at our end, just because if they get to the customer and they're missing a decoy, they're missing some stakes, we ask them what stamp's on it. And then we can backtrack that to who packed them out. And we advise them that, hey, you messed up. And all of our decoys, if anybody is a Real Geese obviously fan out there, all of our legals will have a date on them of when they were produced. That date is backtracked to the materials, the inks, all of that, to where if we find out there is let's just say for an instance, maybe we need to recall it. All those dates are refunded 100%. We also know if somebody calls us 5, 7, 8, 10, 12 years later about Pro 2s, that they, maybe the cloth is starting to fray, or maybe the cloth is starting to fail after 12 years. After 12 years, it's starting to push my limits. Before then, I'm like, hey, yeah, I'll send you new ones. No big deal. They're meant to last that long. That's why you pay the money you do. We kind of judge it off of, the years that we do it. And I am a big believer in our Pro 2s. They are to last a decade to 2 decades. There's no reason that they don't. I have 20-year-old decoys that look brand new. So I stand behind my product 100%. And it's something that Brandy has caught on. And I really love having her aboard. And every day, I literally walk in every day and I sit, 10 feet from her. So you call and you hear her say a good thank you, because she's a big part of Real Geese, and sometimes she doesn't always know it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever done something where like you order decoys and for a certain time span, there could be like one of those golden tickets in it, or like Willy, like from Willy Wonka, or like that girl from the iPhone that was taking her picture, and people would open their iPhone and there'd be her picture on it. You ever done anything like that?
No, we've talked about actually putting like something in like a shadow box or a Pro 2 box that would be like a free dozen of this and a free dozen of that. We're working on that. The problem with that is logistics. You know, the negative thing right now is when we ship to Canada, for me to cover the shipping, cover everything to get it to somebody is astronomical, as you guys know.
Yeah.
So I don't want it just to be to the state side. I want it to be Canadian side. And right now, one of the biggest things is we're shipping to a lot to Russia.
Really?
And speckle belly geese in Russia are absolutely going nuts.
Really?
Really?
True
I don't
story.
know why.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah. When I was in Latvia in 2018, I saw the biggest flock of speckle bellies I've ever seen in my life, and I've been to Saskatchewan. So,
Really?
yeah, true story. Yeah.
So we don't just ship stateside. We don't just ship, Canadian side. We
America.
ship
Yeah.
worldwide. I shipped to Australia. We ship some crazy spots. I had a guy. We have a confidence cow, which to be honest with you,
You told us about
when we
this
first
before.
started it, I'm like, this is the goofiest thing. And we shipped one not too long ago to Australia. Why? I don't know, but people love them.
Hey, it's all good.
I'm
Hey,
waiting for the
listen,
rabbits.
Whatever.
for the rap.
For,
Hey,
like,
listen,
coyote hunting, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? We've Craig, it's been a while since you've been on the show, and we've sort of been alluding to it over the last, 10, 15 minutes, but there's been a lot of things going on with Real Geese since the last time you've been on the show. Like, you've upped your swag, you've come out with a new bag. You've alluded to the Eclipse decoys. So, and I know there's a ton of people that's listening right now, and if they're not following you on social media, can you give us just a dumbed down version or a dumbed down explanation of what the Eclipse decoy is, and then talk about some of the changes you've made innovatively to your bags and to your stakes and all of that stuff, if you don't mind.
Okay. No. If you're familiar with our products, take a Pro 2 cloth and put it on our shadow. That's, in a lack of the dumbed down, dummiest version I can get, that's what we done.
Okay.
We have the patent for the cloth technology. We have patent that, and so we took that and created one of our most popular decoys right now is our shadows, and we blended them together. So we took a shadow series pose and added cloth to it. So the shine, and again, I'm huge on shine. Every decoy that goes out gets tested. And if you can go off of your car or something that's really glossy, is roughly around 70 to 80 on the gloss meter at 85 degrees.
Mhm.
Our shadow series is right around 7 to 8%. And our Pro 2, the new Eclipse, is 0.02.
Wow.
So it's not even half of a 1.
Yeah.
The amount of shine is astronomical. It's amazing. So we took a little bit of the economic part of it and made it there. Now they're a phenomenal decoy. We're working on more poses as we speak. But that decoy, I think, is going to be a very hot topic for quite a while.
Yeah, I believe
we also had a lot of people ask us, "Hey, we need you to make a bag. We need a bag." And if you guys know, making a bag isn't easy. So I've struggled to make it. We've gotten it. Some of you on the show have seen prototypes, and some of you have seen almost finished product.
Yeah.
I can tell you we will have 5,000 bags in our facility come mid-June or mid-July, excuse me. So my goal would be about the first to second week of July is being able to release them to the public.
Awesome.
They'll be able to carry 6 to 8, 6 to 9 dozen of our Shadow series, as well as our new Eclipse. decoys. They will also carry our magnums, our Pro 2s. Any decoy, different color, they're more of a neutral. I didn't want to go with a corn look. I didn't want to go with any other look. So I'm excited about it. Our swag is starting to turn into it. That's actually
boy.
Brandy. That's Brandy in a nutshell.
Hey, what?
She's good at it.
I've been saying to you, I was like, man, you need to get that Grim Reaper goose on a t-shirt. And you were like, it's in the works. I'm like, oh, please tell me this is going to happen, please. And you were like, yeah, the design, we're working on it. And I'm like, man, that's going to make for a sick t-shirt right there.
Yep. We have a pretty badass shirt coming. I can tell you, I think we released it already, the Snow Goose hoodie. So it's an all white hoodie with a little bit of, logos on it. So if you need to, blend in with the snow, it works out well. We have my favorite. I like old school. I'm an old school, laid back, love that kind of thing. We have a old school duck camo hat coming. We have some more swag coming our way. It's just a matter of doing it. And I can tell you all the hats are United States made. They're all printed literally about 20 miles down the road from me. All of our shirts are 100% United States built, made, cotton, all that good stuff printed here. So it's a really cool deal. We're starting to get that. I know people love that kind of stuff. So we're working on it. And the hardest part on our end is getting everything updated on the website, getting everything, the t-shirt part of it, the design part of it's the easiest part. The shipping and logistics and how we're going to store it on our end is normally the hardest part.
Craig, when you talked about the fact that, your hats are made, printed in the United States, your shirts and stuff, are you noticing an increase in your customers and I get it. I understand that everything can't be made in North America, right? Because it doesn't make sense sometimes. And I totally get it. But are you starting to see an increase in customers asking, listen, is this American made? Is it North American made? Or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we get that. Mostly it's customers that have come from our competitors.
Okay.
Most of the time it's that question of, oh, you have these in stock. Where did you get them? And then they get on our website and see that we're 100% made in America. And I've actually had people call me and they call me out. They said, there's no way you can do this 100% made in America. And I show them. I'll say, listen, I'll send you the email of the plastic I bought. I'll send you the ink that I bought. I'll show you pictures of us printing it. And there's no, if you do the due diligence and do the things that you're supposed to do, if you're supposed to be 100% made in America, it's doable. You just have to do the dirty work. A lot of my busy schedule is not sitting, at my desk at Real Geese. 6 weeks ago, I was visiting a place in Cincinnati that was a powder coater, and that was all for our steaks. And then literally across the street was the wire manufacturer for the Shadow series. So I went from one to the other, and I said, so can you guys play nice? And it's a lot of hard work, but we do see an increase of it. I wish it was more than what it was, because, if you want my honest opinion, the younger generation don't care.
No.
They
do. I think they do care when things starts to break, when things start to fail.
Correct.
I think that's when they start, they care. Then that's their aha moment where they learn, right? The initial purchase, I don't think they care. After, when things start to fail, I think is when they care. Dave?
They are in a replacement generation where you don't buy that iPhone to last you 5 years. You spend that $1,000 every couple of years and get a brand new iPhone. And like the other thing is they don't know, like, we've had this conversation before with other people that they don't know the struggles and stuff that people had back in the day, where they would make things by hand, or they would buy like the quality stuff to last. And if it didn't last, they'd be upset about it because they had true pride and ownership there. And nowadays it's replacement and having, and there's haves and have nots, but it's not about having quality stuff anymore.
No, you're very right, Craig. You had said.
Mark had his hand up.
Oh, sorry, Mark. Go for it.
Mark
Sorry.
had his hand up.
I was pouring a beer.
Yeah,
Mark has
you have to look.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it must be interesting now, Craig, because what's been exposed over the last year and a half with people using China as their supply chain and all the things that the costs that have increased due to all that. And you guys are ahead of the game that way now, because you don't have to rely on China.
Correct.
You don't have to rely on shipping, which has gone way up, like so high up. Like a sea can shipped a year and a half ago was 1,800 or $2,000. A sea can shipped now is $6,000 to $8,000. Right? So you don't have to rely on that type of thing going on right now, because you're sourcing everything from within. So I don't know if you're noticing it, but it must be something that's going in your favor now.
It is. And, I kind of sat back and I was like, man, at some point, this United States, me digging deep and finding these people that can do this is going to pay off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at some point it will, and I think it's coming to fruition. With some of our competitors, and again, I don't. That's one thing that I've always told any of my employees or any of my pro staffers is you never badmouth anybody that's our competitor. And one thing that I've always said is if I want to keep my price emails. Oh, we're going to increase the price 5% because of this went up. Well, you never get the email that, hey, we're going to decrease our price 4% because that went down. No, it's supposed to be that way. So if we buy plastic and we got a bunch of it for a real low price, I can guarantee you shadow prices or any of the other prices are going to go down. And that's something that we want to do with everybody is have that ability to, honestly, 95% of our products are made within 3 hours of Real Geese. Our plastic is made from there. Our resin a resin to make the plastic is from there. Our inks to print the stuff is from our area. It's just something that I've taken pride into having this. A lot of people say create jobs. I've never really sat down and figured out how many jobs Real Geese does help. But I can tell you it's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've taken pride in and I enjoy. And everybody that works at Real Geese, there's really nobody that's been there. So, Brandy, I can tell you, she's probably one of the newest people there. And I bet she's been there 7-8 years. Wow. I got 16 years. I got 17 years. I got 30 years. I bet I'm in the mid-20s with a lot of other ones. So it's something that we take pride in. We love to do it. It's not something that is a big percentage of our pie. We come down different. And it's something we really enjoy doing and we love doing it. And that American-made deal, I think, is going to eventually pay off. It's going to take people to realize that we're here. Because I still talk to people that said, what's Real Geese? And my brain is that emoji that's like this. And I'm like, I don't know what else I can do besides spending 7 figures to make you see me.
Yeah.
And the thing that really gets me about Real Geese is you get people that are like, well, I don't like the wooden stakes, but they don't understand that, well, there's actually the metal stakes. And then I get other ones like, yeah, but man, they cost way more than X other. And it's like, yeah, but you're comparing apples and oranges right now because it's a different type of material. And like, they don't research into what they're looking at. They just look at a price point and a picture of a silhouette. They both look the same in a picture from the side, right? Like, So do
But
your goddamn
that's
research,
tough.
fuckers.
Yeah, and it's tough on our marketing department and our marketing people that we sit down is we have to make that as a decision. You know, we can't. You know, there's no. You know, besides some of the shows that we do, there's no way to get these decoys in these people's hands to see the difference. You know, it's not a knock on our Shadow series, but they're not built to last a decade. They're not. I tell that to people, everybody that calls me, they're not built to last a decade. They're not.
Hence the price point.
Yeah, but our Pro 2s are. So we've gotten to that point to where we've kind of just said, hey, listen, and we actually have started to market this, and it's something that we're working on. Is you'll be able to get on our website and buy one decoy of everything we make. So you'll buy a spec, you'll buy a snow, you'll buy a snow econo, you'll buy a shadow, you'll buy a eclipse, you'll buy a Pro 2, you'll buy a magnum, you'll buy a sitting goose. You'll buy one of every one of them, which will be a dozen of them, and it's more of a trial pack. And when you get it, you'll look at it and go, yep, I really like these. And you'll be able to see the difference between a shadow and a Pro 2. There's a reason you can buy 3 dozen or 4 dozen almost shadows to our Pro 2s. But I know a lot of the OGs that, you know, in lack of a better terms, they love the Pro 2s.
Yeah. But you even alluded, and this go back to that point that Mark was sort of kind of tiptoeing on. But with this increase of cost, this increase, like it seems like everybody and their fucking dog is using COVID as an excuse to up their prices. And I get it that some people have taken on some extra costs. And I totally get that. I'm not saying everybody is raping everybody. That's not what I'm getting at. But like Mark had said, you guys had some forward thinking. You've looked ahead. You've seen what was happening, and you purchased all your materials when it was at a reasonable price, and you're not increasing the cost of your product.
Yeah, and that comes a lot of again research, a lot of just in lack of a better term, it's a gamble. You know, it's a gamble to have that much plastic sitting in your warehouse and you know it not being used for 9 months. You know, when you have this amount of Eclipse material sitting around, it's like holy crap. I can tell you, I just got an email Tuesday morning from our cloth manufacturer that it went up 6%. And I don't have a choice. But I can already tell you that we've already run 1,300 dozen Eclipse. So it's already done. So I had purchased it prior to the 6%. So a lot of it's business. A lot of it is understanding, you know, hey, this is a lot of people underestimate the amount of politics, the amount of understanding what's going to happen. You kind of got to gamble a little bit. This isn't this X's and O's that you got to live life by the normal deal. And it's just something I'm blessed to have my father be able to guide me in the right direction. He's taught me many things to be able to look ahead rather than look 3 months. Let's look 9 months. Let's look 12 months. What do we think is going to happen?
Yeah.
You know, we actually, between my father and I, called the election in the States. We called it the way it went, which was the least popular opinion. And you know, it paid off. Again, some of the gambles pay off, some of them don't.
Yeah, that's right.
But in this case, I think that things have went in the right direction.
No, absolutely. I wanted to go back to this, you know, this American made and you know, this North American made. There's a company up in the Northeast. I forget exactly which state they're in, but they're called the Grumpy Duck Company. And they're doing a lot of those, you know, the charging handles, right? With the duck and the goose band on the charging handle. So, you know, obviously I ordered one from them, and because I think they're awesome and the whole bit. And talking to him, same thing. He's like, we're 100% American made. And I'm like, there can't be a whole ton of companies out there that can say that they're 100% American made. Like you say, like I'm looking at my box. I've got a box of Real Geese that the Shadow series that I'm giving to Brian McRae for Wald for Ope on behalf of Real Geese and us. And right there, made in America, stamped right onto the box. So there's not a whole lot of your competitors or anybody out there that can actually stamp that on their box and you know, hand on heart, say that this is the case.
Yeah, and when I look at it, is we're really proud of it. I think it's something that we hang our hats on. I mean, I wouldn't tell you that we don't, because it's not easy. I can tell you there's a huge competitor of ours, and if they're listening, they know who they are. They're an hour and 15 minutes from Real. They do everything almost the same, and they do things different, and that's them. But I don't think they can claim everything United States. That's something that we strive and go the extra distance. Now, we're not the company that produces 10 different sets of decoys yearly. It is something we don't do. When we release a product, it's a product that we've been working on for 9, 12, 16 months. And it's because it takes the people to find, you know, and a lot of people think, oh, it's just a decoy. Okay, well, now you got a decoy. Now you got to find the ink. Now you got to find the plastic. Now you got to find the box. You know, now you got to find a stake. Now you got to find a powder coater. That's just to be American made. Just those things. There's a lot of in-depth details of that. And it's something my team that I put together, my father has put together, that is turned into an amazing group. They know when we release a new product, it's something that is like, you know, holy crap. This isn't something that we do all the time.
I love your side guests right there.
Future president of Real Geese.
There you go.
I don't know if this one will be a future president. Where's the other one, Ash?
Where's Park Dog?
Come here, Park Dog.
Just make sure they remember these faces when we acquire decoys.
The only guy.
Not a happy camper right there.
We just want to go to Mama.
Yeah. I could
It's the
see
president of the
that.
company, and the other one's the face and the
That
voice.
one would probably be the future. Yeah, well, that one I think would be the future of that one. This one is a daddy's girl, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. That's awesome.
You're daddy's girl, aren't you?
Listen, Craig, buddy, we can't thank you enough for coming on, and we don't want to take any more time away from you. You're with your family, you're camping, you're at the RV. We've all got wives. We know how it goes. We don't want to take up any more of your time, buddy. So you know what? I know you're working hard, and Real Geese isn't your only side gig. You're a race car driver. You've got your hands in a million different pots. So I am sure this weekend retreat at the RV with your family is very, very well deserved. So we don't want to take any more of your time. We'll do a quick round table, let the boys ask any final questions that they may have. Then we'll give the final word to you, buddy.
Like rapid fire, I like it.
Philly. Is Philly not there?
I think he froze.
Philly's froze.
It's actually just a cardboard cutout of Phil.
Mark.
Good to see you again, Craig. It was good talking to you.
Likewise.
Great to hear the info that you put out for us. Really appreciate what you're doing for the group and for Damien and Dave Punisher. It just adds something to our whole thing that we got going, I guess, and it adds something good too. So yeah, definitely appreciate that. and looking forward to the next time we chat, and hopefully get down to see you at some point.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait for the day that you guys are allowed to cross the border and come down to Ohio and see us. I don't know what kind of show you can get down here to see, or if you're down here hunting. I mean, I know I got some buddies up there in northern Michigan that would love to have you guys hunt with them. Ryan Campbell and those guys, and when they come down to our area, they would. I know they'd love to have you guys alongside of them and shoot some.
Yep, absolutely. Philly.
Well, now that I got more stable internet connection, because I was having some technical issues.
Did the dog piss on the internet on the modem or what?
You'd think, right? I'll try to mind my vowels as there's a young lady present.
I'm sorry.
But Craig,
You
again,
heard it all.
we appreciate you coming on, Craig, and being definitely like the front runner as a sponsor of this show. It means the world to us. And just again, to echo what I said before in regards to your customer service, like, you guys are crushing it. Keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate it, and just keep those geese coming to Canada. Oh,
Awesome.
and furthermore, if you look right there above my shoulder, that's a Real Geese decoy bag.
Snap some.
And it's full of decoys. I can see that. That's even better.
Yeah, downfall is they're upside down. I didn't put them in.
Here's your sign.
Yeah, there's stakes up.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah,
yours
that's
come with
not
a nice
good.
sticker?
No, I actually purchased that bag used.
Oh.
But again,
I have
my-
a sticker.
Look at that
Old
sticker.
decal.
my,
That's
my,
an old sticker.
mine are stakes up. I didn't put them in.
Yeah, no. Don't do that. Don't have them stakes up.
I got those. That's the sticker I've got.
Ooh, I need that
One job.
I got some
What color is that?
stickers for you, lads.
Get better.
There.
Oh, you're
Oh.
What color
good
is
stuff.
that?
Look at that,
Is
eh?
that pink?
Look at them all.
It's red. It's just I think it's just the camera. It is red.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, we did some limited edition. I think Dave actually held up the one of that one. And we did some of those in pink. We did some of the one, Damien, you had in pink. We did some oddball colors.
That's awesome.
And those are very limited edition. We just kind of threw them in a box. And every now and then we see somebody that'll post a picture of a limited edition decoy.
That's awesome. Ryan.
Thanks, Craig, for taking time in your busy schedule and your vacation. Appreciate it.
No worries.
We appreciate everything you guys at Real Geese do for the 0430 the Union, and we'll definitely be talking to you about an order here before the fall. I can assure you that.
I do gotta go back to Merck, and Craig, you need to see this. Merck, put that hat on your head. We gotta see this, Craig. We gotta get Merck a low profile hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta work on that.
Yeah.
It's not my grandfather wearing these hats. Great.
Well, it's funny.
Like one of
I
them,
used
it's like one of them wicker grills on the top of one of them trucks to air deflect over.
It's like that friggin' thing you got on the top of your race car.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
That creates downforce. I think that thing on his head creates upforce.
That's awesome.
That's why it sits here.
Final word to you, Craig, buddy.
Oh,
Again, I think
Sorry, Craig. Dave,
Listen,
I am. You know what? I'm so
I've
used to
been
you.
absent for so goddamn long
Yeah.
that
We forget about you.
Damien
Yeah.
forgot about me.
Yeah, I totally forgot you were even.
Dave's
there.
not here, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dave's not here.
sorry, Dave.
You know what, Craig? Thanks for believing in us. Thanks for everything. It's every time we talk, I feel like I'm bugging you and pestering you, but you're always good shit to talk to you. And good luck with that race car. Remember, Rubbin's racing, buddy. Rubbin's racing.
Yeah. You know, if you get a chance, you can get on my either Facebook page or my Twitter, and you can see some of the racing stuff we do. Some of the Real Geese stuff that we have all over our race cars. We sponsor, I'm pretty sure it's probably 10 to 12 race cars by now. just to kind of help our local group out. Again, anybody that's listening, like I said, swing in. You let me know. You call our, just call our number. Don't get on the website. Our website's phenomenal. I love our website, but don't get me wrong. If you call, you'll talk to me. Say you heard it on here, I'll give you a discount, even more than what you're getting anywhere else. That's something that I want to have happen. I want our listeners to have the product that we talk about, not just, see it, whether or not it's not a budgetable deal, or maybe we can make a deal that it is budgetable. It's something that I want to do, and I'll make sure that I get some of these series up to you guys, up to Damien, and get you guys some up, and any of you guys that want some, we'll send some up, and we'll give some to give away to some of your listeners before they're released to the public.
Awesome. Appreciate it, buddy. Everybody, this was episode 54 of the Union 0430. If this is the first episode that you've ever watched, which I find it hard to believe, but if it is, this will give you a very, very good insight into exactly how we operate. We surround ourselves with good people. And when we surround ourselves with good people, good things happen. And that is exactly what this show is all about. We are as advertised. We're not professionals. We're not experts. We're just a group of friends that absolutely love one another's company, love ripping on one another and learning a little bit. Who would have known? Big spec population in Russia. Not this guy. Everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you, Craig and Real Geese, for the belief in the show and believing in us. We've got so much more coming, and please check out Real Geese and call Craig and call Brandy, and listen, just call Craig to just fuck with him too. Like,
just call me and talk to me.
And just screw with him. Just keep him away from the office as much as you can.
Just don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah. Awesome. Everybody, this was episode 54. Big love. Until next time.